Okay, so we had the Tszyu Fundora fight on the weekend. Listen, Tszyu took a beating. He took a real beating in there. I see a lot of people saying that Tszyu was washed, right? And that's why he took the beating he did. The knockout from a couple of fights ago, yes, that could have taken something out of him, right? But I don't think he's washed. I think Fundora is just that good. I mean, Fundora in the first fight, he beat Tszyu in a close competitive fight. A lot of people were expecting a similar thing this time. I was expecting the fight to be close as well. I said it's basically a 50-50. But in that first fight, both guys didn't have long to prepare for each other. Fundora came in 2 weeks notice. This time, Fundora had a full training camp and he really prepared. And like he said after the fight, he's worked on his boxing a lot more. And you can see that. You can see that with the consistent jab. Even though he did use a good jab in the first fight, he stepped it up even more here, and it wasn't just it wasn't a soft jab, it was a strong jab, and he was throwing it consistently. That's what I like to see. Not enough fighters these days use a consistent jab, but Fundora just, he perfected it against Tszyu. I mean, this guy's an absolute freak. To be 6'5", I think he is, at 154 pounds. I mean, it's unfair. I was feeling sorry for Tszyu in there. To be up against a guy that size, I mean, it really is unfair. I think Fundora needs to move up. Even at middleweight at 160, he's going to be bigger than everyone. At 168, he's going to be bigger than everyone. This guy's not going to find someone his size until he's maybe at cruiserweight. To put it into context, this guy is taller than Usyk, right? And he's fighting at 154. Usyk is heavyweight champion. To put it into more context, Callum Smith was known as a big 168, a guy that was too big for 168. He moved up to light heavyweight. Fundora is bigger than Callum Smith, taller anyway. So yeah, he's an absolute freak. And with the advantages he has, and now that he's worked on his boxing a bit more and is throwing a jab, these guys that are smaller than him, much smaller than him, they don't have a chance. Tszyu never had a chance in there. And Tszyu did try, he did try. He was swinging for the fences. He threw some big shots. But then even when he landed, Fundora showed a chin. Tszyu must have landed at least 10 good shots on Fundora's chin, and Fundora walked through it. So yeah, this talk about Tszyu being washed and all this, I think that's completely wrong. I think Fundora just improved from the first fight, and with his size advantage, he's just almost impossible to fight. I think he beats everyone at 154. I don't think there's a guy that can stand with him at 154. I don't care who it is, Crawford, Innes, Virgil Ortiz, Madrimov. The one guy I would like to see in there with him, if he does stay at 154, is Boachuk. Boachuk, very good fighter, throws a good jab himself, throws good straight punches. He's a bit bigger than your average 154 pound guy, although Fundora is still going to tower over Boachuk. At least Boachuk's a bit bigger, bit rangier, and he comes to fight. You know, he's not going to hold back. He's going to walk forward and find Fundora. And yeah, that'll be a real fun fight, an entertaining fight if they can line up Fundora against Boachuk. Because yeah, I don't think there's going to be many guys at 154 that are even going to answer the call against Fundora. You know, I mean, if I was a fighter at 154, 5'8", 5'9", sort of size, and I get the call from my manager saying, listen, we got Fundora, this is your next fight, I would be hanging up that phone and finding a new manager, because that's a setup. You know, that guy's trying to set me up. It's just totally unfair for a guy 5'9", even 5'10", to be stepping in there with a guy that's 6'5", who has power, who has a good jab, who has a chin. You know, it's too much. It's too much. Yeah, so Fundora, you know, improved from the first fight, got the win over Tszyu, a stoppage win. Yeah, very, very good performance. But yeah, I don't think Tszyu's washed. I think Fundora is just that good. I know he got stopped by Mendoza, but if you look at that fight against Brian Mendoza, Fundora was beating the shit out of him. You know, he was smashing Mendoza. Mendoza threw a big left hook, caught him, wobbled him. You know, ref stepped in, I believe, to stop the fight. You know, that not a lot of guys are going to land that perfect shot to stop Fundora, and that's what it's really going to take. Again, maybe Boachuk with his volume, and the fact that he's a bit, you know, insane. He will go forward relentlessly. You know, maybe that's a competitive fight, and that's the one I'd like to see. But anyone else I don't think stands a chance in there against Fundora. Too big, too strong. Yeah, that's the way I saw it. So yeah, let me know what you think.